Hi everyone, my name is Rikileigh, and today I'll be showing you a presentation on my internship at the Washington Diplomat. In this presentation, we'll talk about how I got my internship, some of the difficulties I had with finding this internship, also how UNT prepared me for this internship through their coursework. But before we get into all that, a little bit about myself. I'm a Houston native. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas, before moving to the Dallas area in 2016 for my bachelor's in creative writing. While getting my bachelor's, I also got my minor in technical writing, and that's sort of how I was introduced to the TechComm program and why I'm pursuing my master's right now in professional and technical communications. I'm a full-time student, intern, wife, and cat mother. This is actually a picture of me and my husband when I graduated in May of 2019. My cat couldn't be there, but you take what you can get. So, about finding an internship. I actually had a lot of difficulties finding this internship. I sent a lot of applications, way more than 50, to numerous places. I started expanding my industries. I used to only work in automotive and engineering because that's where my previous experience was. But due to the pandemic and a number of other things, I had to branch out to just to find work. Hence how I got my internship at the Washington Diplomat as an editorial intern. Of all those applications, I only had about 15 interviews in a 3-month period. I got a call back from a few of those interviews. The main reason I declined so many of them was because they weren't willing to offer me remote work or reduced hours due to the pandemic. I wanted to socially distance and be healthy and responsible, and it just took a while for me to find that. But finally, I did with the Washington Diplomat. Even though the pandemic made it difficult, I am very happy with where I've been. So, a bit about the Washington Diplomat. It was once a monthly newspaper that has now moved completely online due to COVID-19, meaning that it used to be a physical newspaper that would come out monthly. But due to the pandemic, they've had to scale back, go online, and sort of abide by some new restrictions. The site is also managed by Victor and Anna, my direct superiors. Victor is the editor-in-chief, and Anna is the head editor at the Washington Diplomat. This is Anna right here. This is Victor. And this is another intern named Estella. She is the content strategy intern. Her and I work very close together. We're sort of peers in that regard. We're both directly underneath Victor. I would say we both also work with Anna quite a bit, but because I am the editorial intern, I get a lot of my tasks from her. So what the Washington Diplomat is a political and cultural newspaper targeted at the diplomatic and local audiences in Washington. When I say diplomatic audience, I mean people like, of course, diplomats, ambassadors from other countries, or, even U.S. ambassadors to other countries. Our target audience is them, and through the Washington Diplomat, it's our job to connect them with the local area and to connect, the local population of DC with the cultures of their ambassadors. So a bit about my work environment currently and my responsibilities. So I work remotely due to COVID-19 and due to the distance between, Washington, D.C. and Texas. I don't have much direct supervision because of the remote distance. Victor and Anna email me or do Zoom calls once a week, but mostly I have a lot of personal responsibility with getting tasks done on my own without a supervisor on hand. My hours are pretty flexible to accommodate my lifestyle and school. Because of the pandemic, I've become more and more of a night owl, but I can work anytime I wish due to my internship and due to the remote work, so it works out. My responsibilities include meetings with the team and other interns, communicating with press teams for cultural events and happenings in the diplomatic community. So when I say communicating with press teams, I mean I do a lot of emails back and forth between embassies and the embassy's press team and even local curators about cultural events to tell the public and to maybe get the diplomatic community interested in. I also do a lot of writing, editing, and proofing. I work on a lot of articles, newsletters, micro content, blogging, social media posts. Most of my job, I would say, is the writing aspect and the editorial aspect of just getting copy and content ready for publication. An equally big part of my job is managing databases, campaigns, and social media posts. So through the tools I'll show you here eventually, I manage quite a bit of data entry and email campaigns through MailChimp. And with the help of Estella, the other intern who works on social media, we sort of take the information we gather from this data and these campaigns to create better social media posts and to outreach our community and audiences a bit better. Some of the tools I use are WordPress, MailChimp, Procreate, and Google Drive. So like I said before, WordPress is how I edit and write most of the articles because the Washington Diplomat is held on a WordPress blog. I sort of live in the WordPress text editor most of my days, editing articles, creating micro content, updating information. I also use MailChimp a lot to create campaigns and manage audiences. Like I said before, I create newsletters, and what a newsletter is for MailChimp is that you are able to send out, emails or information or press releases or anything like that to a wide number of audiences with MailChimp. So right now our target audience is about 10,000 individuals. So I prepare newsletters and content and send that out to our readers for the coming week. I also do a lot of designing through Procreate. Now, Procreate is the odd one out. It's not really a technical software. It's an artistic software. It's actually a painting application that you use on the iPad. I'm a creative individual, but I found that I could use this program to create much more authentic wireframes and to just give documents and reports a better appeal. And then, of course, I use Google Drive as like a catch-all. I use it for emails, spreadsheets, presentations, and reports. When I'm not in WordPress, I'm in Gmail or any other Google application, just sort of getting my work together, managing my time, and my communications with the rest of my team. So some of the projects I'm working on are the Ambassador Database, website consultation, and social media strategy. Starting off with my Ambassador Database, that is essentially a Google Sheet I have created for all the different ambassador contact information we have on the website. The sheet houses the U.S. ambassador to a country, the country's ambassador to the UN, and then that country's ambassador to the U.S. So with this information, we hope to provide the diplomat community with a well of accurate contacts that they can reach out to for support, cultural awareness, things like that. And then with the website consultation projects I've been running, those are actually a series of smaller reports that I do throughout my internship, where I essentially look at our webpage, look at our different navigation bars and things like that, and I determine if there are any issues based off user research we do with MailChimp or with our social medias. The first report I did was at the beginning of my internship in August. I essentially looked at the new homepage. I made suggestions. I created mockups and wireframes through Procreate, and I sent that off to Victor, Mr. Rikileigh, who then sent it off to our webmaster, who is now finessing those changes into the site. And then finally, I work on a few social media strategy projects at this point in time. Right now, my big project is helping Estella with proofing social media posts and getting information and posts ready from our social media calendar. That includes creating copy for multiple platforms and, of course, working with her on a day-to-day basis to post those on time and to help strategize with the numbers we see across our other platforms. Moving on to coursework, I feel like some of the most integral classes I took that helped me with this internship are content strategy, of course, editing technical documents, and designing technical documents. So with content strategy, I learned social media marketing, how social media changes and what those trends and platforms look like across the years and how to assess those changes. And I also learned how to adapt new ways of interacting and thinking about audiences through social media and content strategy. Even though I'm not the social media intern, I work so closely with that team that I feel like the experiences I gained in this class, like learning how to create a content inventory, learning how to do a content audit, learning the different key times for different social media platforms, really helped us as a whole. Then, of course, the most important class, I feel, was editing technical documents. To me, it's the single most important class. It's the core of the writing profession. It's what makes us so versatile. If you're not a sound editor and writer, it'll be very hard for you to be a good technical communicator. I feel that this class was so important to me and to my development as a writer that I almost wish we had more classes like this that maybe focused on editing in other industries. I felt that editing technical documents was a good general course, but if we had maybe a class like editing in health sciences or editing in the publishing industry, I think that would help specialize students like me and help us figure out what kind of industries we want to get into. Finally, designing technical documents. So I'm actually taking this class concurrently with my internship, but I feel like even though I've not completed this course yet, the softwares I'm learning to use, the techniques, the principles I'm learning in this class are very important to my internship and to my future career. Even though this class is about design technical documents, I feel like it helps you become a better designer overall. And having a good eye for design, especially when you work with reports and documentation or any kind of visual medium, is key. I'm learning Adobe Acrobat right now. I'm learning InDesign, which are both industry standard. And I feel like I'm rounding out my skill set. I was a strong writer and editor, but now I'm also a strong designer. Takeaways from this internship as a graduate student are: always keep your portfolio and experience in mind. Your portfolio is so important to your development as a professional. That's going to be what employers look at to see your skills. And if you keep that in mind with your internships, like I've done, I have quite a few things I could pick from to put in my portfolio to show what I've accomplished. Another key takeaway I got from this internship, or I should say I got from the beginning of my internship, was don't give up on finding an internship or a job. It was very difficult for me to find this internship, but once I did, I was so thankful and so grateful that I got to work with a team of people who not only understood my limitations with being a remote worker, but also my requirements for school, for this practicum, and for my life as, a student intern. So don't give up on finding your internship or a job. Just keep trying, keep working. It took me a long time to finally land this internship, but I did. Another key takeaway is to use the resources available to you. That could be any number of things. Like I said before, I used Procreate, which is a painting illustration software, to, create technical documentation, like through wireframes. As long as you are adaptable to what's around you, like many of us have been during the pandemic, you'll do great as a technical communicator. And then finally, take time for yourself. It's really hard to manage work-life balance when you work from home constantly, but this will probably be a big part of our lives moving forward, is learning how to manage our time between work and our social lives when they have been merged together during these times. So take time for yourself. So thank you to everyone who sat and listened to my presentation. I really appreciate your time and effort, and I hope it was illuminating and helpful for you all. If you ever need to contact me with any questions about my experience at the Washington Diplomat or about my coursework, please email me at rikileighperry@my.unt.edu or rikileighsperry@gmail.com. Thanks for your time and have a wonderful day.